Could Gabriel successfully track down V1 if he was teleported into Indie Cross instead of Cuphead? Well, remember that one throwaway joke in Indie Cross? The one about Cuphead being in the Ultrakill verse and almost getting decapitated by Gabriel? It begs the question, what if Gabriel was actually teleported into Indie Cross instead of Cuphead, leaving the flask behind in Ultrakill? Well, I'm here to explain the timeline of how I would think Gabriel would interact with the villains, characters, and verse, and how he would break Indie Cross episodes 1 and 2 if he were in them. Okay, let's start with a basic rundown of who Gabriel is for those who forgot. Gabriel is the most powerful angel in heaven, specifically called God's power. His feats consist of entrapping the Leviathan, stomping Sisyphus' uprising, and killing Minos. None of these were really that hard for him, leading to him being very prideful in his universe and that being a key weakness to his combat. Most of his power scaling, in fact, is based off of how his boss fight to V1 is super hard. And seeing next episode how V1 is going to be going toe-to-toe with Unithor and Midusara next episode, it isn't a stretch to say Gabriel could deal with the weaker rogues and then some, like Game Master and possibly Godot. A would-be feat of this hypothetical after V1 should have defeated him is him slaying the Council of Heaven. But once again, he is the most powerful angel in heaven and they were not built for fighting. Not to discredit him though, he was still fighting thousands of machines before V1 in Gluttony. And being a worthy opponent of Indie Cross V1 is a very good look, because we know V1 is going to be incredibly inflated. I guess how strong he is relative to how good you think V1 will do against the rogues, and how big of a skill gap you think is between Gabriel and V1. I would say there is an okay sized gap between the two of them, since his fight is still insanely hard. So now, with all that said, let's get into theorizing about how I would think Gabriel would handle being teleported into a random dimension and dealing with the main villain. A lot of minor stuff goes on in episode 1, except for Frisk vs Charlotte and how the fight distracts Charlotte long enough to no longer be in the top 2 most powerful characters. Now, adding Gabriel in place of Cuphead would tilt the scales of the powerful characters in the episode by quite a bit, making Gabriel the 3rd strongest, or arguably if Frisk didn't use their determination, the 2nd. So I think adding Gabriel in only the 1st episode would already change the direction of the series. Being the first one in the Wasteland, he would encounter Shovel Knight and one of Charlotte's drones fighting. Gabriel would not intervene because he has 2 goals, one being a sub-goal of the other. Gabriel wants to kill V1 or find a way back, so there would be no reason to fight random people. Plus, seeing Charlotte's drone army approaching on the horizon, being fearless, he would go up to them with the intention of receiving knowledge about this place, / maybe ending them, get his ass beat, and run away. Debate this all you want, the ending is still the same. There was a huge number of them, and Gabriel is shown to throw fights and run away at the slight taste of his own blood. Shovel Knight, now devoid of Cuphead's help, would ultimately win against the rogue he was fighting, albeit not by much, but that would remove the minor head start he had against Charlotte's army, and he would ultimately die to them. Gabriel then, as opportunistic as he is, and, as vengeful as he is, waits for Charlotte to send away her drones and attacks again, accompanied by Frisk, who, out of respect for the dead race of humans in his world, wouldn't attack them. They both put up a lot better of a fight than Frisk on their own did, with Gabriel dodging all of Charlotte's shown attacks with ease since he is very gifted in aerial mobility. And this drags out the fight long enough that Charlotte powers down, but barely manages to teleport Frisk away just like in the main plot. Fully powered down, however, she cannot defend herself and succumbs to Gabriel's sword. Of course, Frisk wouldn't technically want to be working together with Gabriel, it's just in this hypothetical, Frisk can't reach him. This already horribly derails us off of what already happened in Indie Cross, with the main villain and half the main cast dead. A lot changes in episode 2. So let's get into how Gabriel compares to those guys in his journey to find V1. Picking up where episode 1 left off, what should happen here is the usual standoff between Shovel Knight and Cuphead versus Madeline and the Knight. But Shovel Knight is dead, and Cuphead is an Ultrakill. Now obviously they would have no reason to fight each other, Gabriel versus Madeline and the Knight, and Gabriel probably wouldn't travel with them because he's prideful and independent, plus the fact that he's the only one out of the three of them who can fly. So he flies around for a bit until he finds a thing that removed the power from Charlotte. After defeating a machine that wasn't V1, Gabriel likely wouldn't attack Unithor on his own, but Unithor is also known for attacking first, starting a heated battle. It isn't hard to reason that if V1 will be fighting both Midusara and Unithor in episode 3, Gabriel would have Unithor on the back foot. Gabriel there would be clearly faster, but strength, battle IQ / experience, and arsenal is where they both tie. We don't have enough evidence on both to make a fair verdict, but speed is a big part of combat that Gabriel would have the upper hand in. So out of knowing he will probably lose, or just see this as a waste of time, Unithor opens the portal to the city, where all the other rogues, specifically V1, reside. Not following Gabriel for a second, back at the Wasteland and without Charlotte, Madeline and the Knight either die by Unithor's hand or Unreal's, as they don't know how to escape. That already leaves us with the entire cast of Indie Cross dead or missing. Back in our new A-plot, Gabriel is flying around in the new place he finds himself in, where he would not find Nico and Grillbees, but the Beheaded and the Drifter fighting Game Master from far away. His hate for V1 and now machines in general for attacking him first, he would aid in the attacking of Game Master, killing him early, as Game Master was barely handling the 1v2. With this new amount of time, Gabriel can now have a short conversation with the Beheaded about where they are, how to get back, and if he has seen a machine. Beheaded hasn't seen a machine like the one Gabriel is trying to describe, and he doesn't know anything about anything else, and the Drifter can't talk. Now, with there being 3 of them, they wouldn't be snuck up on. This initiates the craziest battle yet between Gabriel, the Drifter and Beheaded versus Unithor, Midusara, and Godot, when the rogues receive Game Master's call or track him down. I can't even lie, they get cooked. Game Master, one of the weakest rogues, was able to sustain a 1v2 against Drifter and the Beheaded, so this battle is a stomp, and Gabriel partially knows this, so he runs away before the Beheaded gets petrified and Drifter gets away. Since petrifying all of them isn't the main focus, reviving Game Master is. Since Charlotte is no longer in the timeline and now the rogues for sure know this since she didn't exit the Wasteland before it was smelted, the rogues' main focus is just petrifying the remaining characters and carrying on their evil plans. Gabriel goes into hiding, knowing that rage won't win him this fight, not when there's so many powerful machines. He knows that he can probably take just one of them, but they alert each other so quickly that it's best not to risk it. So he keeps his eyes on them from a distance. Drifter returns to Grillbees where he left Nico at the start of the episode, knowing this is a fight he can't win, and chilling there because in Hyperlight Drifter he fears death. Midusara, however, eventually finds them and alerts all the other rogues to her location. They all come except for one for some weird reason, that being Godot. Gabriel would figure this is his chance to single one of the weaker rogues out while the others are distracted. So Gabriel goes in the opposite direction of Grillbees and sees the scene of the battle and finally finds the thing he was searching for this entire time. If you liked this video, I have another video about Ultrakill in Indie Cross, and it's canonically power scaling V1 to everyone in episode 3, and debating on whether he would win. Also, join my Discord to get video notifications and talk with me and my fans. Also, I hate asking about this, but subscribing would also give you notifications on my latest videos about Indie Cross, so if you love this show, subscribe. Oh, and huge credit to Abhiker Gaming for helping me with the script. With that said, you all have a wonderful day.